Uh, Hello, my name is Lewis. I am the current president of Mass Bears and Cubs. And, we're doing these video chats with various members of our community just for, community awareness and help us all survive through COVID and some of the other fun things that are happening around us these days. Tonight, I'm talking with Jaime Tolentino. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, busy time at work these days, working from home. It's not always easy.
Oh no, believe me, I get it. I've been doing this for a year now, but it's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while, other than
Yeah,
like Facebook pictures or something, but good
yeah.
to see you live.
Yep. Yes, it's nice. Yes, it's good to talk to you. And yeah, it has been a long time. That's what I miss most in the past year is being able to, see people and have a chat in person and sit and have a drink because I had one ready. So, okay.
Did you
Um,
expect any less?
One of the things I wanted to start off right away with was your epic beard. This is a year's worth of growth for me. This is a year's worth of growth for me. And this is all it's like,
It keeps
wow.
going.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I would call it epic, but thank you very much. That's
Oh,
awesome to
epic
hear.
beard. Yeah, I really like it. So,
Yeah, it's been growing. I haven't shaved since probably like 2016. Obviously, I trim it,
mhm.
but I never get it even short enough that people would even notice. So I'm careful about that. But yeah, no, I haven't seen my clean face in like years.
Okay.
And I do have a picture of like somewhere on Facebook when like the last time I was clean shaven and I look like a baby and I like my bearded look better. Some people want to look younger. I am one of those weirdos that want to. Well, now I'm 40, so I don't want to look older anymore. But
Yeah. No, I just had to like point that out. It's like that's one thing I noticed like in Facebook posting and stuff. It's like, wow, that beard is really, really rocking it now. So just wanted to let
thank
you
you.
know.
That's
Yeah,
awesome. I appreciate it.
sure.
You do have a nice beard going on, and you also have like the handlebar sometimes.
Yeah. If I use the dippity do or Brill cream to get the handlebar going, my dad would actually do his in a handlebar, and mine's growing in a lot like my dad. So it's like you
Interesting.
sometimes you become your parents without even realizing it. I mean, I look at
Oh,
my beard and it's like, yeah, that's the way his was.
I see parts of me, of my dad and my mom in me now that I'm older, and things that when I was like younger, I was like, no, I would never do that. Like it just transformed into like what I guess. Funny you said that because like I am like the first one in like both sides of my family that actually has ever grown a beard like I have.
uh,
Everybody has had a beard for like a week or two, maybe a month, but nobody's ever like gone for it. And like it's funny because like you can imagine all kinds of jokes they make
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
family. So
Cool. So, one of the reasons we, as a group, thought of doing a chat with you was, just, give some visibility to some of the things that you've been active with in the community. You personally, I like hearing about the beard in the family. I think that's neat stuff because, yeah, I have four brothers. One of them would do a beard every so often. Mine is definitely the longest that anybody's ever taken it. So, but it's like it's part of the community thing here. And why shave when you don't need to? I also keep my beard in the winter because when you go out outside waiting for the tea, yeah, it keeps you a little bit warmer.
100%. And I also don't like shaving. I just think it's unnecessary. But I think that's also because I like my beard, and I also like people like with beards. So like obviously the bear community. So I don't have to say anything else.
Cool.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so in our yeah, and what about our community is what I am seeing the evolution of mass bears and cubs after coming out of mass bears and reforming as mass bears and cubs. I'm seeing younger people like when you joined the contest a couple years ago to jump in and vie for the Mr. Boston Bear, Mr. Boston Cub. It's like wow, we're getting some new faces, some diverse faces. It's like I'm happy with that, because that's been one of our goals, is to, like, that whole concept of inclusiveness and just being able to share our experiences amongst each other.
Oh, I think you're right on that. Like, it's funny because I had also always been, I always kind of knew about Mass Bears before it was Mass Bears and Cub, but it was never part of the community. Meaning I wasn't like going to events or anything like that. But I remember like 10 years ago looking at the website and things of that nature, and like seeing you guys at the alley. And one of the, because I always would go to the alley, like I always thought that it was a cool place. But I remember specifically probably about 5 or 6 years ago, I just completely stumbled upon into like a Mr. Boston Bear contest at the alley, like the night that I was just going. Because I live within walking distance. So it was like the bar that I went to, like if I was bored. And that Friday night, I think, or Saturday, I forget what it was, honestly. But like, I see a line and I'm like, well, it's not underwear night. What's going on here? Like, no, like for real. And then I'm like, so I get to the door and the guy's like, oh, it's going to be like X amount, whatever. And I'm like, why? He's like, it's Mr. Boston contest. I'm like, really? Like I literally, and I have to apologize for that, because like I always checked out the website and things like that, but like I didn't know it was happening. Wow. But then after that happened to me, I just stumbled upon it, and then I kept up with it, and then I went to like all the shows, and eventually I guess I had the balls to like be like, fuck it, I'll just do it. So well, I had a lot of fun. You guys were extremely welcoming, and everybody that I met was nothing but nice. Absolutely.
I can say that, and I can echo that, because I competed back in 2015, and yeah, the guys that you're competing with, you wind up staying in touch. You see how they're doing. You see them in person, and it's like, yeah, you remember that night where you had a heck of a lot of fun. It's scary at times, but it's still a lot of fun, and you do meet some great people, and it's like, I still stay in touch with the folks that that I competed with. So it is a good experience.
Oh, absolutely, I agree with you. The group of people that I was with, I mean, I still stay in touch with like most of them, but that night, regardless, or even the night before, the day before, when we like met, and we just, honestly, it just felt like we made a connection, all the contestants, because we were all in it and we didn't know what we were doing. We like literally bonded that night. And then the next day for the contest itself, it was such an awesome experience, because like, I don't really think we were competing against each other. I think we were just like having a lot of fun when we were there. And I didn't feel anything like from any one of them saying like, oh, like that guy's here just to like, win, or nothing like that. I think it was just more like people wanted to meet new people and make new friends. Not only the contestants, but I ended up meeting you guys, like an awesome group of people that I've been in touch with ever since. I appreciated that. So I gained a whole new group of friends that I didn't have before.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that, because, we try to make, it's not like we want to force anything to happen, but part of that day of the contest, it turns out to be a long day, because we have to start out early in the day with the judges asking questions and doing the interview part.
Oh, yeah.
And you guys are waiting around. There's a lot of waiting around, and it's getting ready to make sure that
drink, so it was okay.
Oh yeah, but it works out where you get to interact and talk to folks and get to know them, and then see the rest of us being busy and panicking when things get moving. But it is a fun night every year that we do it. It seems just to be, we're getting used to doing that. When I did it with Jeff Z, the founder of Mass Bears, he actually came to me, and he like a month before, he gave me the stack of papers, which was the application on paper back then, and he said, I really want you to join the contest. And it's like, really? And I said, and he goes, yeah, just give it a try.
I mean, I can see why he asked.
Yeah, I was always there, and he knew that I enjoyed being around the bear community and just participating. So I think he saw that. And then, it was after that I did that contest that I got to the board of Mass Bears and Cubs. So, it's like it got me a little bit more involved, which was also good. I was also glad to, become part of the organization and help with, everything that we've been doing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's funny that you just said earlier that, that night you guys were like all panicking and like, moving things around and things like that. It's so true because all of the contestants, we were actually having a lot of fun. Like when we were like in the dressing room or changing room, whatever it was called, we were just having fun. But we could see that you guys were like, oh no, we're like not having fun right now, which I know it is fun for you. But what I'm saying is like, you guys are being serious about this moment because you're running something. And I saw that, like I could see the dedication that happens from like, the group. And that was like really awesome to see. As I said, we, the contestants, were just having fun. We were drinking and having fun. You guys were running the show. All we had to do is like go downstairs, make a fool of ourselves, for lack of a better term, and then go back up and then laugh again with like the guys,
Well, I'm glad that you had a good time. But the other thing I can say is, it was, everything we'd raised is for a good cause. And actually, the year that you competed, when you got up and did, the bare minimum dance, you were actually the contestant that raised probably the most money of people throwing money at you as you were taking your bear wear off. So
I was told that. My friends were like, yeah, you had a lot of money. But I don't yeah, I remember money, but then again, like I don't, but thank you. Yeah, that was awesome.
No, because I was there collecting, stuff around your clothes as they came off the stage and stuff. And then he was like, okay, here's all this money. It's like,
it was a lot of fun. And I am one of those guys that I seriously don't have like a problem with like body image, like whatever. I have a belly, fuck it, I'll take my clothes off. Well, not my clothes off, but you know what I mean. But that night I was seriously nervous because again, I didn't mind like taking my shirt off. That to me is not a problem. But the fact that people like, if you do that at the beach, that's something, or walking around, at the park, but in this case, everybody's focused on you. Mm-hmm. So I was more like nervous of like, oh, what if I take the wrong step? What if I can't just talk? What if I drank too much? All of those stupid thoughts are going in my head. And the other thing, that song that was assigned to me, I had no idea what that song was. I had never heard it in my life. And I came home because I had the option to come home because I live so close. I came home for like a couple of hours, I think. And I came up with like stupid routine that took me like two times listen to the song and do it. And then I was like, I'll stick with this because other than this, I'm not a professional dancer. So this is as good as it's going to get. So I don't need to practice anymore. But I'm glad it worked out. Apparently people liked it.
Oh, yeah, people did. And and that's one of the things that, with, the funds that we raise, once again, we get, the door, the cover charge at the door, most of that, because the contest really pays for itself. A lot of that went to charity. I think that year we were given the donation to Bagley, their local organization that, the Boston Alliance for Gay and Lesbian Youth. And it's like, okay, for young people, it's like, they need to be taken care of. And that's where, that's what we like to do, is to be able to, take that, have fun, but still contribute back to the community, to those who really need it. And, and we're trying to diversify, our range of organizations where we can help participate and participate with. We partner a lot with the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, and they're pretty much in the same way. Any money they raise, they will find a cause to donate to. So that's, we like working with them. They're a fun group of people, and they capture everybody's attention just because that's
wow.
Of course. They dress.
Yeah. And that's what I like about Mass Bears and Cubs too. Like, I really understand where the money is going to. Like, you guys are very transparent about it, and I appreciate that. I've always been the type of person that likes to contribute something back to society. And it's funny now because, like, we're going through this whole pandemic right now, and I just so happened to be laid off back in last year in August because I work in travel. And as you know, from like late February, that's when travel stopped. So I'm lucky my company kept me through August. But ironically enough, I ended up actually finding this job, contract work there is, but it doesn't matter. We working in public health with Partners in Health, which works with the Department of Health in the state of Massachusetts. And I've learned so much about public health and about like the disparity and the inequality and inequity, and all of this reassures me that what you guys are doing, what I've learned in the last few months, reassures me what you guys are doing is something that is necessary. So yeah, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no, that's good to hear. And I'm glad that you have something positive to say about, public health and public policy, because, we tend to, overlook or say bad things about, the way government is run, whether it's the city, the state, the federal government. But, COVID has really, I think, sent us some, kind of reset with, it's been the government that's really, been in charge of getting us our vaccinations. I'm just glad that Massachusetts has been very good about, masking up and getting vaccines.
I mean, not to brag, but Massachusetts literally has been the state that other states have modeled their contact tracing and contact investigation. I only know that because I work for that same organization and they give us all that data. But speaking of Massachusetts, not my organization, but Massachusetts itself is literally one of the best, if not the best states to be in when it comes to public health. There's other states, especially in the South, where people go through so much, especially our community, the LGBTQ community, they are denied rights that are just human rights. Like, it doesn't matter what you are. No human being is illegal. Like, you're a human, you have this set of rights because that's it. You were born a human. So going back to the Massachusetts thing, we don't have that disparity in where we are discriminated at that level. There's still some here and there, but it doesn't come from the government like that. So yeah, I agree with you. Sometimes the government can be an unnecessary evil, but with the government, do you want like an anarchy? In theory, that sounds amazing, but it will be literally the purge.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the ones that are going to lose in that purge are going to be the minorities.
Yeah.
Gay people, LGBTQ, brown people, immigrants, Black people, Asians right now are having like the hardest time.
Yeah.
And not just now, they had it before. It's just that right now it's coming into like the light.
Yeah.
So unless we organize with each other, and again, I'm bringing it back to Massachusetts, we're not seeing that, but compared to other states in the South, as much as it sucks to pay taxes, I know where my taxes are going. So
right. Yeah.
Again, I don't want to make it political about Massachusetts because that's a sidebar kind of thing.
No, but Massachusetts, it tends to be a little bit more forgiving with various situations and the various minority groups. But we still all have experienced some form or other of discrimination or hate speech directed to us. I mean, I remember walking one night. I'd met with this guy and we were walking along holding hands at night, and we were walking by another club, and for lack of a better term, I'll refer to them as bro dudes, or like start screaming at us and go like,
"You think that bothers me?"
They start throwing out the names and the name calling, and it's like, it's not even worth responding or anything, with anybody who is that, antagonistic and just wanting to be plain old mean. I just didn't see the point to it, but it still happens here, and it was happening in Boston, and to me that was a surprise.
Yeah, and I agree with you. There's no point on trying to match them at their level. I mean, unless they get physical with you, then at that point that's a different story, which I would never do. It. Somebody hits you, fucking back. But if they're just yelling at you, why does it matter? Keep walking. And yes, it is happening. It has happened to me, literally in City Hall Plaza. I was walking back from the doctor's one day because I was sick. I literally went to a doctor, had my music on, just walking back, I figure I get some fresh air and get out of downtown crossing. I'm sorry, Government Center rather than Haymarket. Get some fresh air while I walk. And all of a sudden, this guy, it's like on my face, and I'm like, I have music on, so I don't know what's going on. And then he ended up like calling me Al Qaeda, a terrorist. And then he says, go back to India, which India has nothing to do with Al Qaeda. And I am neither of those. So, but I was like, okay, dude, like keep walking. I'm neither. Right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he never touched me. So those situations, all I can do is, yes, it sucks, but at the same time, dude, if you have that problem with that you have to vocalize something like that, then I feel bad for that person because there's something wrong with them. Like that's just and therefore, because there's something wrong with them, I should just leave them alone.
Yeah. Oh no, I agree. But at the same time, I'm looking at what we do for our community, and not just Bagley, but one of the other organizations that's called Bridge Over Troubled Waters, and they take care of runaway teens. Literally for kids who have run away or parents that have thrown their kids out of the house and then they land up here in Boston,
which is a huge problem with the LGBT community.
Yeah. So it's but at the same time, I see some of the segments in our community. You have the people looking for trans rights. You have Black Lives Matter and some of those activities, and then you have Latinx, and it's like they all need attention. And to me, people wonder why we compartmentalize, and it's like, well, I saw the perfect meme on Facebook the other day. It's like, if all lives matter, then Black lives matter too. And I think it goes across the communities because, and what we're seeing with Asian people these days, which, it's sad that our society has been given the voice to be able to be bigoted and openly and just being plain old mean when, it's like, what happened to just being civil and respecting each other's differences? And I think, that's one of the things that we try to, acknowledge, at least in when we're talking to people and recruiting people for our team, or just doing volunteer work.
Right. No, I understand that completely, and but I think it gets to the point that sometimes you just like got to do something in order to like vocalize it, like. And I'm just gonna take it to like maybe a little bit of an extreme here, but like I remember like the riots last year after George Floyd, especially because like I've been watching the trial in the last couple of weeks. I was okay with a window being broken if I had to do that, and which I never did. But if somebody had to do that in order to bring this particular subject about people being killed just mercilessly, the window can be replaced. Mm-hmm. I don't condone anything bad. Like, believe me, I don't want that to happen. But I can put up with a broken window rather than a dead person or hundreds.
Yeah. No, I get it, because they're trying to cast aspersions and say he was on drugs, and and it's like, I'm sorry, that was still no reason that he should have been treated so poorly and badly that he died at the hands of another person who just so I think we both get it, we from whatever perspective. And
I mean, I'm sure you've been drunk. I've been drunk. That's considered a drug, right? Alcohol is a drug. So because we acted stupid one day, because I'm sure I have, I'm not going to deny it. Never to a cop, obviously, or violently, but like, really, you're just going to like put your knee on me for 9 minutes? But anyway, I don't mean to make this chat about that. That was just like, sorry.
No. A lot of this is about awareness in our community and what we do and how we handle that, because handling COVID is one horrible situation, but then to deal with some of the other social issues that we have to deal with is like, people are just are tired. I'm tired of having to put my mask on. I'm tired of having to do this social distancing, the whole kit and caboodle. I want it all done with, just like everybody else. But we also have to be responsible adults. And
yeah, absolutely.
That means, if that means another 6 months of living this way so that everybody can survive, that's all the better.
Oh, I'm okay with that. I'm getting my second dose next week, and just because I'm getting my second dose doesn't mean that I'm not gonna mask up. I'm gonna do what I need to do in order, because at this point I'm gonna be protected, but I don't know about other people. And then if you can't care about other people, I think there's also a problem with you.
I completely agree that, and that's just it. The science hasn't shown that, if somebody who's been vaccinated, that they still won't give COVID to anybody else. So we have to wait for those scientific studies to happen.
And you could be in the unfortunate 5% that get vaccinated and could get it. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, and
I
you need
will
to
take
get
that
hopefully
5% chance.
yeah.
I don't care. Like 5% is better than 100%
Yeah.
in this case.
Yeah, I get it, and once again, it's about us setting an example as well, and that's the other thing that, I'm hoping that our groups can do, when working across the organizations of, in Boston, and looking at, the Marauders, they haven't met, their bar is closing. The Eagles, it hasn't been
Wait,
open.
is it? I thought they were selling it or something.
Yeah, the Eagles not going to be any longer, but that's where the Bay State Marauders would meet. And, they're one of the leather teams that, every so often they would have a contingent marching with us in the Pride Parade, which was, always great to have, more the merrier, and enjoy, some company of some other friendly faces. But we really need to make sure, though, that we still have those spaces and people can gather and be comfortable in those spaces.
Absolutely. We need that, not just as a community, but I think as just humans.
Yeah.
Regardless of what community you belong in or don't want to belong in.
Yeah. Yeah. To be able to go to, a music event and, be there, like jumping up and down shoulder to shoulder, with a bunch of other
you have
fans of
no
the
idea
same
how
musician.
much I miss that. Oh, you have no idea. I'm
Well,
a huge live music guy. I've been to over 300 concerts. I've been to music festivals. You have no idea. Last year, I was supposed to see Rage Against the Machine that had been in hiatus for like a decade.
Uh-huh.
And it would have been the greatest concert because their name is Rage Against the Machine. And guess what? They hate Donald Trump. And I was like looking forward to that. And that didn't happen. They were even supposed to play Boston Calling and COVID then.
Yeah.
Now they're not going to go on tour because they don't want to hate on Biden.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, but hopefully, we'll be able to enjoy some more of those kinds of events, and that's something that, we're also looking at. Yeah, we couldn't have our boat cruise last year. That's one of our most popular events is, doing the Mass Bears and Cubs harbor cruise on a Sunday afternoon. And, we really missed that this year. We're not going to be able to do it in June because I don't think that the government's going to let us, have any kind of event like that early in the year. So, we're looking at, okay, when can we do this? And, that's something that our group, the Mass Bears and Cubs board has been, evaluating and looking at. But, just being able to get together with folks and enjoy something together.
Yeah, I like it. I get it. Like, I have like a group of 5 friends that like basically that has been at the whole year. And I know the alley open, by the way, but I haven't been there yet. Hoping to go there as I'm completely vaccinated. And it's not that I'm afraid of anything, but I also work in public health now, so I'm a little bit paranoid because I see the numbers going up. But again, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. Hopefully, things, but I don't know. I really hope that we can probably have some kind of event by the end of the year for Mass Bears and Cubs, because like I've been needing this. I was so lucky that I got to go to the alley at the last year, February, the last underwear party.
Oh, I missed that one.
And I saw some people from the organization. As a matter of fact, all of the contestants from Mass Bears and from my contest, we like, well, not all, 3 of us, we made a point to like go that day. And I was there and a couple more. And we ended up having a great time because we had not really hung out with each other since the contest. So that underwear party was like awesome. And then I saw some people from the board too. So it was really cool. It was kind of like a mini reunion. And so little did we know that we were not going to have another underwear party after that.
Yeah, and you know, the folks at the alley, they're really cool about that kind of stuff. And particularly, and but like our contest, you know, we can have that event there. They're really helpful to us, and you know, and what they've done. You know, when you go in there, you'll see they put up these plexiglass partitions around every booth. You know, just maintain that social distancing and social separation. It's not, you know, you're still getting out though. And you know, everybody has their comfort level. Like you said, you're going to wait until your second vaccine kicks in. You get the 10-day incubation period, and you know, you might feel a little bit more comfortable. But everybody's.
To be honest, at this point, I'm actually comfortable, but I don't know. I know that I need a second vaccine, but like from reading what I know that what the first dose does, so I like it's definitely getting better for me. And excuse me, not that I had like a horrible time just being stuck at home, but it was more like being able to see people, like not the friends that I like had a meeting with or like dinner with, because you know I still have like that tiny bubble, but the people that you ran into and that you didn't know, and they were like, "Oh, hey, what's up, Luis? I hadn't seen you in a while." Like you and I would have run into each other plenty of times in the last year, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
this is
because
the first time
I'm in
I'm
the
talking to
neighborhood
you.
now too. Yeah, it's like I'm in the neighborhood now too. So I'm within walking distance of Government Center and Haymarket. So you know, it's like,
oh yeah, you live down the street. I forget that.
So you know, and that's something that I miss. You know, one of the things, you know, it's just getting out. And you know, I do a lot of walking these days. It's you know, it's been my excuse to get out of the house. A friend of mine and we will get together and we'll just, you know, put our masks on and go walk. We'll meet and just, you know, go walk for a couple miles or 3 miles or whatever. And number one, it's kept me healthy. Number two, it's got me some fresh air and exercise. But three, we run into people, even with a mask, you'll say, "I know you. I see you at the alley all the time." And then all of a sudden it's like you're and you got to remember names.
That's so awesome.
And then you pass by people where you don't recognize them because the mask is on, and it's like, and then they stop and you look at each other. It's like, yes, you know, and you lower the mask, let them see your face, and then you put it back up. And, you know, it's that kind of, you know, stuff that it makes it nice to get out. But, you know, at the same time, I'd rather just be out there and be able to say hello to folks in the neighborhood anyway.
Yeah, eventually that's going to come, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. But till it happens, we have this, so it's fun.
Yeah. And that's really where, you know, I think, you know, some of us have been burned out on Zoom. There's been days for work that, you know, we get Zoom all day long. And the last thing I want to do is get together with friends and drink on Zoom because I've been working on Zoom all day. And, you know,
I hear you.
just got to balance everything.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, luckily for me, I don't have to go on camera for work. Even like our meetings, we decided not to do on camera only because, you know, we meet with like family and staff in camera and things of that nature. So as a team, we decided not to do it. But it's funny because we are in touch with each other at work all the time, but it's just not on camera. But we do have Zoom parties like every couple of weeks where we actually get to see each other on camera for like an hour. So it's just how it works.
Well, I was actually, well, you know, there's a handful of friends where, you know, once a month or so, and actually I need to schedule one, you know, the Friday night after work Zoom drinking party. And it's like, we sit and we'll talk from anywhere from, you know, 1 hour to 6 hours while drinking various beverages. And, you know, 6 hours of drinking is a lot of drinking. And at least we're at home and we don't have to worry about drinking and driving and having a designated driver. You just have a designated Zoom person.
I remember doing that with my friends when the pandemic started last year around February, March. So because everybody went on lockdown and nobody knew what was happening, my friends and I didn't really see each other until probably like June. But like in like April, May, we were like, oh, let's start doing Zoom parties, you know, like everybody was. And like they would go anywhere from like you said, 1 hour to like 6 hours, because sometimes you just start talking and they're like, oh, let me go grab another drink. And then it's like, oh shit, it's like 6 hours later. But it was a lot of fun because that was like at least the connection that you had, because other than that, there was none. You can text somebody, but like text is not, which is, I love texting. I'd rather you text me than call me. But it's not the same as having like an actual live conversation like we are. Like all of this conversation will not have the same effect on you and I if it was during text, because the emotions aren't there.
Yeah, and a lot of it is if you know the people too, because when I'm at work on Zoom, it's like I'm not sure who this person, and the work I do, people insist on Zoom having the camera on most of the time. So it's like I got to get dressed for work, and and make sure that my beard isn't all like everywhere, and I'm not in my PJs or anything, or not a ratty t-shirt.
I'm not gonna tell you how I work, but typically I wouldn't be wearing even this.
No, I get it, and there's a lot of people that enjoy that, but it's in many ways we're lucky that we can do that. That we
100%.
Zoom, and
As I told you earlier, when I lost my job, I was like, oh, well, fuck, like, what am I supposed to do? Luckily, I had good severance. Again, I'm not going to get into that, but like, I was okay. Yeah. But then this opportunity came along, and I was like, why not? Like, I have nothing to do right now. Might as well just try to help and hopefully gain some more knowledge. And I ended up learning about public health. But anyway, I can 100% understand about like not being able to do things.
Yeah. So but all through this, I keep hearing about various groups that might be missed, underserved. We you hear about Chelsea and East Boston with the high rates of COVID happening there. The neighborhoods where I
grew up in Chelsea. Like so I knew this, and I didn't mean to stop you. I'm sorry, but like I knew about this from like the news. Everybody was watching the news, and everybody knew that Chelsea was hard hit. But then we need to know the why. And the why is because these people are not as privileged as you and I. And these people sounds horrible, but yes, this group of people don't have the privilege to work on a computer like you and I.
Right, and they have to get on the T and go to work where they're around other people that
they have to go clean the fucking bathrooms at the office that people had COVID in. They had to go clean them all. They had they don't have the luxury that you and I had. Even before I got laid off, when the pandemic started, they were like, take your laptops home and work from home. And we did. So, and that to me was a luxury. Even though I got laid off, I was able to keep that job for a few months. And I didn't have to go and expose myself.
Yeah.
Chelsea people didn't have that option. No, they had to take the 111, which is the only bus that goes from Chelsea to Haymarket. And which is the most used bus line in Massachusetts, by the way. I don't know if you knew that. And they had to be in a crowded sardine can. Like I used to live in Chelsea. I grew up in Chelsea, as I said. So I know what it's like to take that bus. I know how packed it is. So these people, yes, they had disparities. And that's like now, and I don't mean to talk about myself because I'm not self-promoting or anything like that, but like my background's travel, and I love traveling. Like I've been to 5 continents. I love traveling and learning about cultures, learning about people. But now that I've been exposed to public health, I want to explore that field a little bit more because I've learned. I'm fluent in Spanish, if you can tell by my accent. But when I got this job, I didn't realize that speaking Spanish was going to be such a tool for me.
Oh, a valuable.
When I say tool, not to be saying like I'm better. No, to help people. Like the people in these communities, like Chelsea. Let's go back to that. A lot of these people are immigrants that never had a chance to learn a second language. They probably never even had a chance to finish high school.
Yeah.
So I'm an atheist, but I want to say I feel blessed that I knew Spanish because I was able to I had to take Spanish tests and stuff to be qualified, but I did. And I was able to help my community. And like, you have no idea how much that felt like, like sometimes I would forget words in Spanish because I don't use it that often. And
Oh,
I would just Google them and I'd be like, oh, this is the word that I need to say. But like, I, I feel, but like helping the Latino community, obviously through the state because they have me, but like I was able to do something that was necessary because I feel like, again, these people might have not had the assistance should
mhm.
there not been someone that spoke that language. And there's the same thing with the Portuguese
Yeah.
speaking community, with the Haitian Creole speaking community, with the Vietnamese speaking community in Boston. Believe me, there's plenty of Vietnamese in the
Oh, yeah.
Boston area. There's like four main languages, and I happen to be someone that just grew up speaking that language. It's not like I went to learn it. I
Yeah.
just happened to know it, and it was such a benefit for my community. Like, it makes me happy. It's not self-promoting, but it's just such a good thing that, like, I'm not a doctor. Like, I never thought that I could be in health. You know what I'm saying? But
No,
there's so many aspects to it, and when you want to help people, you can help people. That's what I found out.
oh, that's an interesting perspective because my parents' first language was Spanish, and I'm
Are
jealous
you
that,
Latino or Spaniard?
yeah. So yes, so
Wait, can I grab another drink? Come on, give me a second.
um, you know, your parents, raised you speaking Spanish as well as English because you're in Chelsea. Of course, you got to speak English at school, that kind of stuff. My parents didn't raise us speaking Spanish, which we understood a little bit here and there, and I learned it later on. And when I speak Spanish to anybody, they immediately like fire back at me, and I don't understand it. So I can speak it if I'm in Mexico for 2 days, I can like get into it and I'm fine. If I'm
Yeah.
over in Spain and I'm do it there a day and a half, 2 days, that's fine. But you probably, since it was your first language, likely.
Oh, I grew like I actually didn't move to the U.S. until I was 14.
Oh, okay.
So when I say I grew up in Chelsea, I mean like I went to like high school in Chelsea, but like I learned about Chelsea. But I'm sorry, go back to what you
No,
said.
no, no. That's no. But it's like, but you now have this skill. It's more than a tool. It's a skill where you can really help people. And it's like if you can do anything during this pandemic, you found a niche. It's like you can use this skill of yours to help people in public health and understand and see what Chelsea really needs and see, because, if you're doing anything with contact tracing and if you're seeing these are the neighborhoods where people don't speak English as the first language. I walking through, downtown crossing and then walking then into Chinatown and just seeing how everything's closed, but, you don't have, and the signs for the masks are all in English. And it's like, what about all these older Chinese people that only read Mandarin and the signs aren't in two languages for them? Are they
Right.
understanding what the laws say about what you need to do? So, but as a culture, I think they were very much aware. And if anything, early on, if anybody was wearing a mask, it was going to one of these other neighborhoods because people understood.
Yeah, I mean, they had it down way before we did. Like, and I hate to admit this, like before, if I was like taking a subway and I saw somebody with a mask, I really hate to admit this because you have to admit your faults, and that's where you become a better person. Uh, I don't want to say it made me feel uncomfortable, but it made me question it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not
What's
question
the
the
value?
person, but like, why are you wearing it? But now that I know better, like,
Oh
I
yeah.
was just ignorant, if you think about that. Like,
Oh,
that
I'm
person
in the
was
same
really
boat.
trying to protect me rather than.
Yep. Yep.
But
I'm in the
because
same
my
boat.
culture didn't teach me that, I had this, not a bias, but I had this question mark there. And I think that's like the good thing about being humans because you are constantly learning. You don't have to be going to school. Like, you can just learn every day and be a better person as long
Yep.
as you want to be a better person.
Yep. Yeah. That's I think the good thing about, even as we're growing older, we still learn. We still, learn to. adjust our opinion and impression. Because, I'll agree, when I got on the bus or the subway and there's somebody wearing a mask, I'm going like, wait a minute. And now, culturally, I'm understanding it was more to, protect everybody else in case that person was sick. They don't want everybody else to get sick. And, all the science is saying things about, we didn't have a flu problem this year. We had, we saved thousands of lives because everybody was at home, and when you were out, you were supposed to be wearing a mask. And so, we didn't have a problem with flu this past season, which to me it says a lot. It says a lot. It really does.
Although, let me go back to the original question. What kind of Spaniard or Latino are you?
Oh, my parents are from Southern Colorado, Northern New Mexico. So those families have been there for many, many years. So,
like you're one of those like generations that goes way, way back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like when families and people came across from Spain to like Cuba, Puerto Rico, and were settling the islands and there, these families came to the shores of Mexico and started traveling north. So all the records are at the Archdiocese of Santa Fe for the, my great grandfather who went to university in Spain came back to the United States in the 1850s.
Oh, wow.
So,
that's awesome that you know that history about your family.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's an interesting thing. And it's like, understand, trying to learn about, the kind of Spanish we speak, because people will look at me and say, you're speaking Castilian and you're American. And I'm going like, no, I learned Spanish in Colorado. And they're going like, no, you're speaking Castilian.
But I love that. I really love how you know like your family's history, because in my end, I really don't know much about my family. Like, I think I know a little bit more now, but I'll tell you that in a second. But like, I knew that I was born in El Salvador. I knew that I was part Italian because of my grandfather. And obviously I had to be a little bit of like native, Turns out that I'm like 52% native and like 20 something percent European, which is the Italian side. And then like everything, everybody's everything. But like, I was like, damn, 52% native. That's kind of like different. I wasn't expecting that, but yeah, so I learned a little bit about myself. But other than like, I don't have like family history that I can go back, because like my grandfather, my dad's side, I don't know anything like before him, because he left when he was a teenager during World War II and somehow he ended up in El Salvador. So I don't know anything about that. And then like my other side, I know like my great grandparents, but other than that, I didn't know much.
Oh, okay. No, my dad had a cousin that had like years of family records, and
that's cool.
Family that's a neat thing, and little bits and pieces there, it keeps you connected to the family, and I think that's great.
One of my cousins actually started doing like family tracing. He has like all these things, and I haven't really looked into it because he doesn't want to really show much. But he's like looking into it, so hopefully he'll have something for us, because like as I said, like he's on the same boat as I am. Like we don't really know much about our families.
Okay.
Yeah, but like it doesn't matter. Humans are humans, right?
No, and in being in the United States, hopefully things will continue to get better, as like it really doesn't matter. We're still all Americans.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have to say, I was really surprised from racial relations way back when. I was in high school or college, and I had met a friend from Puerto Rico, and he was talking about his friends, and he's talking to this man who I thought was an American because he was African American, and I mean he had really dark skin, and and it's like, and he starts speaking perfect Spanish to my friend. And I'm going like, wait a minute. And my friend says, oh yeah, here's my friend. He's Puerto Rican too.
Yeah.
He wasn't black Puerto Rican. He wasn't brown Puerto Rican. He was just plain old Puerto Rican. And to me, that was impressive. That really left an impression on me about, how other countries and cultures treat their people. They don't say they're black, or African American, or they're Mexican American or Hispanic American. as far as, yeah, if that lesson taught me was like, we should just be Americans.
I am so happy you said that because I literally laugh only because it reminds me of my own family. Like I growing up in El Salvador, I am like probably as dark as it gets from my family. Uh,
I'm the white one. I
so, see,
signed
I'm the
on.
dark one, but like I feel like I'm not even that dark. Not that like I would love to be darker. I think it's fucking cool, but it doesn't matter. My mom is like very fair skin. Like my sister had blonde hair growing up. So like my family, like my mom's dad was like this like super Spaniard looking green eyed guy from this like area in El Salvador, which is like super Spaniard, kind of like saying South Boston, super Irish. You know what I'm saying? Like that
Okay.
type of thing. So like all of them were like super like fair features. Because of my dad having a little bit half being half Italian, I got this like complexion, which I love. But it was funny. I just wanted to say that because like we in El Salvador, I didn't understand racism. I knew the concept of it, but I didn't understand it. Like this is gonna sound bad, but growing up, my nickname from my family was Black. Like they just called me Black. But
Okay.
there was absolutely no bad tone to it.
No, and that's a Spanish thing. My dad would, my older sister, she has darker skin. She's probably about your complexion. I have another brother who's like really, really brown, dark. And it's like, and everybody would say, your brother's, and because he was like a year and a half older than me. And we're going like, yeah, where he's my brother. But my sister, my dad's nickname for her was Negrita because she had
Yeah,
really, really
they
jet
would call
black
me
skin.
Negro. Like
And
growing up,
and
my nickname was Negro.
and, and,
And
and yeah, it's a Spanish thing that like Americans don't understand. And
they
to
don't
me,
get it.
no,
Like they
no,
just like to me, if you call me Negro, like it was almost like a term of endearment. Like
yeah,
they
yeah,
would be like Negrito, and like my grandma would hug me, and like it was like again, like I knew the concept of racism, but it's not like I ever experienced it or even saw it. Because I have like my family is like everything in between, but like as I said, I'm probably like the darkest one. But it was just like nothing. And like, growing up in El Salvador, I went to school with kids that were like redheads,
yeah.
which is what people don't realize. Like to me, I think being Latino is just like you're fucking everything. So you're like exposed to like all kinds of shit. You know what I'm saying?
And I think
Not
so, but I
to
think that makes us a little bit more enriched because you have that mix. We're all
yeah. So
nuts.
so when I got to the US and like somebody was like, "Oh, that black guy," I'm like, "That's not wrong, is it? I mean, he's black." But of course, then I understood the history of the country and things will change.
Yeah,
So like I understand that, but it's just funny just to bring it back of how say like how other cultures do not seem to deem something racist. That's all. But I 100% understand how it happens in the US.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And in Spanish, I think in any language, because I learned a little bit of German. I did some work in Italy. I learned a lot more Italian than I did German. And yeah, there are nicknames. Well, my friends from El Salvador, Ricardo, the nickname for his wife was Flaca, and it's like, really? Yeah, she's thin and but it was just, and it's like, I don't think, you translate it to English and calling, some woman, hey, skinny woman. It's like, no, 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 no. There's just such a different connotation. I
Well, terms
really,
of endearments and also like, idioms don't work,
yeah,
you know. That would be like saying, like in Mexico, people say like aguas to say like be careful. It wouldn't work. It would be like, oh, waters.
yeah, 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 yeah. I have like, cousins and aunt and uncle and stuff that live in either Albuquerque or Santa Fe or somewhere in rural New Mexico. And yeah, the Spanish there has its own flavors, its own expressions, and you're
Oh,
going
I'm
like, where the
sure.
heck did that come from? Oh, and there is a sing song to it. I mean, that's the other thing I love. It's like the difference between talking to somebody in Alabama versus talking to somebody from New York or Boston. You know, it's like you both live in the same country and speak the same language, but I'm not understanding
Oh,
what you're saying.
absolutely. Oh, yeah. It
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, oh, it's universal. It's the same thing in Italy. The Northern Italians speak much differently than the Southern Italians,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's
Northern
always a
Italy
learning
is more
experience.
like, yeah. I mean, even like culturally, they're different.
Yeah.
Like the food is different.
Oh, lots different. Yeah, but you know what? In Italy, Nona rules everything, and it's like, yeah, La
Notice,
Nona.
yes, of course.
Yeah, you
Of
don't mess with
course.
Nona. You
Oh,
don't mess
yeah.
with Nona.
You do. Oh, God, no. Oh, God, no.
And the same thing translates here because like I'm right next to the north end, and it's like, you know, you'll see the grandma, she'll be carrying the 2 bags of groceries, and you'll see her, it's like she's going into like this, you know, 6-story walk up, and it's like, I'll bet you anything she's carrying those 2 bags up those 6 flights to go to the top kitchen to do cooking for that. It's like, you know, they're
Hmm.
tough people,
I
and
live
you
in
know
North
they all
End.
have,
I see it all the time.
you know, but that's, you know, that's every culture. My grandmother was a tough woman too, and you know, it's like she didn't grow up in the city, and you know, she knew how to, you know, start a fire. We'd go like, you know, oh yeah, we're gonna go to the park and take a boat. It's like, you know, and sure enough, there's in the fire pit, you know, she's got a fire going, and we're going like, yeah, we're gonna cook hot dogs now because you know, grandma started a fire instantly. Everybody, you know, my kids called her the pyromaniac. It's like, no, not really, but she's good with fire.
I'm kind of a pyro myself. So, yeah, go, Grandma.
That's funny.
Yeah,
So
but
yeah, it's yeah, families are interesting, but you know, learning about, you know, some of these other cultures, and I'm, you know, it's interesting that you used to be in travel, and now you're in something where you're exposed and you have this wonderful skill and you're able to give back, and that's and I think that's one
yeah,
of the reasons I'm do this with Massacres and Cups. It's a way to give back.
yeah. And like eventually, I hope that, like, after this whole pandemic, I really want to be like more active in the gay Latino community. Um, and again, I'm just thinking ahead. I don't have any ideas. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know why I'm on this interview because I saw the last couple of them. And everybody has like things going on. I'm just this random dude with no website or project or anything to. But
And you know what? Things get started this way, and that's exactly why it's like, you know, you were part of the contest. We know you. We knew that you'd be able to, like, you know, shed some light on some interesting subjects. And you know, as far as I'm concerned, that worked because, you know, you have shared a lot of, you know, fun information, interesting information. You probably pushed some hot buttons with some folks, but that's fine.
I tend to do that. I tend to push buttons sometimes, and I think that's just part of my personality. Sometimes my friends will say that I can argue just for the sake of arguing. I don't know if that's true, but
You know, but
just say.
sometimes you can use that as a way to get things done too. So, you know, but what, you know, when it comes to, when you find, you know, that way to give back to the Latinx community, and you know, you find a cause or you know, a group, and they need some help, that's, you know, come see us, and you know, we'll see what we can do to, you know, partner up and, you know, lend to, you know, that giving back in the community. Because, you know, once again, our motto is, you know, brotherhood, camaraderie, and community. And so, you know, it's not just about, you know, a bunch of guys getting together and drinking, and, you know, middle-aged old white men. We're trying to change that, and hopefully you can see that. And
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the drinking part of it, obviously, is part of it. That's how we all met. But no, I do really think the organization itself
yeah.
is doing great things. Like, I've been obviously following you guys up, and I know that you guys have definitely changed the organization from when it started to what it is now. Huge change, and obviously it wouldn't happen without people like you and people on the board. Like, we, the outsiders, like what you're doing. We like your events. We like what you do for us. But I also think that a lot of people out there may not know how much it takes to put an event together, like putting a stage in the middle of like the alley, you know, that type of thing, like all everything that goes into it and all that work and everybody that's involved. It seems easy, and I thought it was. Like at first, like, oh, who could put a stage there? You know what I'm saying? But then when you realize like timing constrictions and everything else that goes in between, and it's like these guys are really working their asses off. So yeah, absolutely. No, I am glad that you guys are doing what you're doing. I appreciate it. I do thank you for this because, like, as I said, I know what you guys are doing, and I know that charity should be something that people should think about.
Yeah.
And not everybody's in, you know, in place or where they can give like even $1 away, and that's fine. But those people that can't give $1 away, maybe they can get $1 from us. The ones that can't do give a, the ones that can't give away $1.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, what I'm trying
Oh
to
yeah.
say.
Oh yeah. And you know, and it's not just even the money thing. We would do an occasional volunteer day at my brother's table in Lynn to prepare food, serve the food,
I've
and
seen your
then
pictures.
and then yeah, and then clean up afterwards. And you know, that was like it had nothing to do with money. It was all about giving of our time. And you know, it's like you're on your feet for like, you know, 5 or 6 solid hours. It's, you know, and it's work, because kitchen work is not easy. We've all
Oh
done
yeah.
got restaurant work at some time in our lives, and if you haven't, you get exposed to it.
I did
And
it
you,
when I was 17, but it wouldn't be the same now that I'm at 40. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, but you know, the people there, as they're coming through and getting their lunch that day that we're there when we do this, they're always thankful. And what I like about this organization is they don't judge anybody. You don't have to be a certain religion. You don't have to be a certain anything. They have people come in that are that are high on drugs, and they'll like, you know, as long as you behave, you can stay in and you'll be all right. You know, there are people with
Right.
all kinds of problems, whether it's financial, medical, whatever it is. You don't have to be any kind of eligible. You can just go there and get lunch. And to me, that is, we miss doing that because, you know, it's something tangible. You see this, and you're like seeing people and greeting them and talking to them as they're getting food, cleaning, you're going and clean up tables and stuff. To me, that's one thing that we do miss. And you know, if we have other opportunities, you know, we've expanded. We've also done work with the Boston Living Center, preparing the meal and cleaning up after serving the meal, and that's right here in the heart of Boston. It's right next to Back Bay Station. So
Is
yeah,
that where Rose's place used to be, or is?
I'm not sure. I haven't been in Boston that long, so I'm not sure what Rosie's place
Because
is.
I used to do Rose's place, which was like almost next to kind of like the Club Cafe area.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I did that like back in my 20s,
Okay.
but I haven't been there like since. But I understand what you're saying, and it goes back to what I was saying. I really appreciate what you guys are doing. Like I see that you guys are being really active, and it's really good to see that. And that's why I like my Maz Bears and Cubs. And you guys also kind of like almost, not almost, but you guys kind of like make me want to do things too. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Well, like I said, if you get, you know, if you find an organization that gives us a little bit more exposure to the Latinx community, and we can, do something together, and once again, help another group, you know, that's what we're here for. That's what we really want to do.
awesome. I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Right. Lots of thanks. We're trying to just make sure that our community stays engaged. And, thank you for taking the time to have this discussion. And, hopefully we'll come out of this quarantine and lockdown and COVID vaccinated, healthy, and ready to have some more fun.
We will. We will. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Have a good
Good
night.
night.